normally report on the three areas of unauthorized, irregular, wasteful, and fruitless expenditure. And we analyze this number and we report on it every year in our general report. I'll just talk to the one on irregular expenditure this year. We are reporting in our report a total amount of about 11.6 billion for the 12-13 year in respect of irregular expenditure. And this is expenditure that has been incurred. However, the manner in which that expenditure was incurred in respect of the controls as well as the disciplines of supply chain management were not always observed. It comes back to the issue I raised earlier regarding what is at the core of some of these audit outcomes. And the point we have made is that there have been significant deviations from some of the basic controls, which have resulted in this 11.6 billion of irregular expenditure. We went further and analyzed it and found that in this 11.6 billion, there's a total amount of 8 billion in respect of expenditure for which the goods and services that were bought were ultimately received. However, the supply chain compliance was not observed to the extent of that 8 billion. So it's a case of saying, if I may use the example I've been using generally, if a municipality is going to buy a truck for refuse removal, for argument's sake, and the municipality spends R1 million buying this refuse removal, and the municipality does not observe all the supply chain management rules that say that you must seek quotes, you must either put out an invitation for a number of suppliers who may also be on your database. They didn't do that, some of them. They just went and bought the truck. And the truck, we have been able to say that the truck was indeed received because we saw the truck, and the R1 million obviously went and paid for it. However, what you are flagging in respect of this transaction is that they've got the truck, they paid for it, however, they did not follow the due process in respect of the acquisition of the truck. And that's what this amount of 8 billion I'm talking about is about, which then means that 8 billion of this 11.6 billion is not money lost. It's money for which things that were bought were received, but they took shortcuts. So they may have bought it from a friend, they may have bought it in an organization or in a company where they may have an interest, because we still have an issue in our report that we're reflecting on, which is about employees and certain councillors having a conflict of interest in the business of the municipality. So that's the risk that we're identifying, to say that the transparency that needed to be in place to the extent of this 8 billion had not been in place to the point where we can satisfy ourselves that this institution is not paying more than it should. So that's the 8. Then the 3.6 balance is in respect of genuine areas of irregular expenditure where we were not able to inspect documentation to support those particular transactions. So the total amount again is 11. 8 of it, we are happy that we paid for what we got, but we are worried about what the impact of not complying with the rules is and will be in the future. But the 3.6 is the one where we say we could not conclude on it because the documentation to support those transactions to that amount have not been available to us. So that's the context of this irregular expenditure. And I'd like to perhaps expand on it in terms of why did we see it fit to do this. We've noted when we reviewed the launch of our previous local government report that that amount was taken, and the way it was analyzed in the reporting on it, it was a case of look at what you could have done with this total amount. And people started drawing different schools and hospitals and books and all sorts of things, as if that full amount was something that went down the drain. I think it's important to understand this context because it's almost trying to give the qualitative elements of what went into that reporting amount so that we help the people who write about our report to be able to understand the context of what we are reporting on. We may have missed it in the past by not providing that context, but we believe that it was something that was clearing to us when we looked at how the area of irregular expenditure was reported. So there is some level of lack of control in the area of irregular expenditure, but the implication of it must be understood in the context of the 8 and the 3.6.
Which brings us to the last point, AG, the role of leadership in all of this.
We have elevated in our report the key practices that we believe are exemplary practices that were adopted by the leadership of those institutions that have advanced to the clean audits, but also the ones that have migrated forward, meaning the ones that are in the 63, that the overall improvement for the period. And we like to encourage the leadership of the municipalities at the starting point to carefully look at the role of an accounting officer in relation to these matters of financial management. Because if you look at Section 61 and Section 62 of the Municipal Finance Management Act, there's no ambiguity about that role. That role in respect of what an accounting officer is meant to do when it comes to financial management matters is abundantly clear. And that's why we say only people who can make it real are the people who are entrusted with the leadership directly in the institution, who will make sure that a space for a finance officer of an institution is created so that they can carry out financial management functions. That space is created for the municipal manager to oversee the implementation of disciplines and controls in their environment, so that the council, through its municipal public accounts committees and the mayor, can ensure that there is regular oversight to appraise the improvement that is being brought about via the accounting officer. I think that will take local government to the next level of rigor, where from our point of view as auditors, we think if that is the priority given by leadership, and we have been encouraged by our engagements largely in the provinces with the premiers and the speakers, who have said that they intend to drive that culture in local government within their provinces. And hopefully, as we have observed with the baby steps that are starting to emerge, we might see local government together with other initiatives, because we believe that these initiatives that we are promoting from a financial management and transparency and accountability angle are part of the journey of a bigger local government improvement plan. Thank you very much.